Good morning, people. Welcome to another edition of Up and In It. I'm your host, Adrian Babishoff, and if you're new here, this is where we focus on improving your life through exploring alternatives to the daily grind, moving from surviving to thriving, and living life raw. All right, guys, this is my chance to actually prove to you guys about my lifestyle design, I think, and I'm kind of excited to talk to you guys about my business. I want to talk to you guys about how I get my business, how I make a lot of money in a short amount of time. So proof of concept. So I want to gain your guys' trust, and I just like talking about the subject. But then I also want to talk to you guys about how I would do my postponing retirement plan. Okay, so let's jump right in. So what it is that I do, I'm a roofing contractor. I own my own business. I also am in partnerships with another business. So needless to say, I've been doing this since I was like 13 years old. I started back, I think, in like 88, 89. And it's now 2019, July 30th, I think. So, okay, so how is it? What is it that I do? I want to share with you guys that the older postponing retirement, how this kind of mixes in is that it wasn't till about 15 years later when I got a little older, and I'll give you guys an example of an application, right? This is basically like industrial revolutionizing the roofing industry and this particular application. So there's this flat roofing that we do. I'll try to make it short and not boring. There's a flat roof, like say shopping malls and big giant commercial buildings, right? So there's a spray application where you spray tar. Then there's this roll of fabric that you inlay inside of the sprayed out tar, the liquefied tar. And here's how it would go. There'd be a guy with a spray tip applicator with this long hose, and he'd spray a width of about 55 inches wide. And then he would go, say, about 20 to 30 feet long. And he'd have to stop. So there'd be this patch of wet tar. Next, we would have two guys would grab a roll of polyester fabric, which is 44 inches. One guy would hold the roll, the other guy would pull the end and open it up, kind of like a roll of toilet paper, for lack of better definition. But in any instance, they would go and they would have to set this thing perfectly in alignment inside the wet tar. Once it was down, it would be lightly broomed into the tar so it'd get saturation. Then the spray applicator guy would spray another 30 feet, and they would do the same. One would wedge a broom right at the finish line of the roll, while the other picked the roll up, unraveled it, came to the end, set it back strategically again. So this took time. This was like you'd stop and then you'd go, and then you stop and then you'd go, and it would continue on this way through the entire job. Well, my mind was sitting there looking at it going, why don't I make a roll setter? So got laughed at by some of the employees, and at the time I was working for a company, and I was also starting my own business. So I would go on these large jobs, and I'd fabricate these things out of piping and wood, and I fucked it up a couple of times and it didn't work. I had to put some brakes and stuff on it, and basically what it was like a roll fitter. The pipe would go through the roll, if you imagine it like a paper towel or toilet paper, and it had a little bumper on it, so you'd literally set this thing down, and then you would just pull it like a rack, like it had handlebars, and as fast as you can walk backwards and you'd keep your eye down, one man would be able to roll this thing out. So that thing made me a lot of money once it was made, once I got it all down. But it wasn't until many, many years of just looking at things, looking at business strategy and figuring out how can I make this better. So, I mean, this thing did many things. It worked out the kinks. You can imagine fabric and tar. If you kick it off a little bit, it would get like a wrinkle in it. This thing, you'd put the Jake brakes on and you'd give it a little tug and it would just yank it nice and straight. This was very powerful. I want to talk to you guys about products. And I'm only giving you guys all of these examples that I've used. For one, like I said, to prove to you guys, give you guys an idea of how I make my money. But also I think these are examples of things that you can do, whether you're in sales or whatever. So I don't know what it is that you do, but I'll just share with you guys what it is that I do. So in roofing construction, everywhere where there's a joint, right? Everywhere where there's an opening or a seam or two parts meet, there has to be some sort of sealant. So I found a particular product that had a sample. I went and took that sample and I started just kind of stabbing at it with a knife, a screwdriver, beating it with a hammer. I found this one that was just so good. I literally put it on a brick, right? A cinder block, and I whacked it with a hammer so many times until the cinder block fell in half, and I picked up the sample and it was still intact. So I put it on gravel and I ran it over with my truck a couple of times, and it was proof of concept. So I took it further, right? I applied this stuff. I had a big giant job once my daughter was born, and it was flat roofing areas, and I used this this product instead of the one that came with the manufacturer. And lo and behold, I come back 10 years later, and I gave a 10-year warranty on all my work, and I come back to this large project I did, and I said, you guys, for a half of the price that I did the roof 10 years ago, if you have me do it again, resurface it and everything, I will give you another 10-year warranty. So every decade I get to keep extending my warranties with these things, and these people never have to put on a new roof ever again. So you see, it's all about the products. But this particular sealant product, 10 years later, I go with a hammer, and this is in a drain area. You can imagine a flat roof like a giant shower. This is where all the water collects and drains off the roof. And that's where I put this special product that the sealant. I again went with a hammer, beat the shit out of it, got it all on videotape, and I had proof of concept. It took 10 years, but it's very patiently waiting and getting all this information. So yeah, that product I showed you, I want to talk to you guys about what it is that, how I use that. That's coming up. But what I want to move to next is another powerful observation that I found, because I've become a single father in the past 2 years, and I'm unable to actually go and do large jobs now. My time is very restricted. So working with it within the confines and restrictions actually sometimes helps you to develop new things. When you get backed into a corner, you have to start thinking differently. Well, what came to fruition for me was, normally there was lots of money in doing complete overhauls, doing a complete new job, right? Redoing someone's entire roof. Well, when you have the manpower and the employees to be able to do that, that's fine. But doing it solo, it just doesn't work. There's no money in it. You can't charge enough. So large companies will come in, and that's what I found battling when I'm doing everything myself, is that I just couldn't compete price-wise. So one thing I looked at is, why don't I just wait and do repair work? So instead of complete re-roofs, let's do repairs. They're smaller jobs, they're simpler. You can charge a lot more money with having samples and experience with the things, as I just said, where a 10-year track record of the products you use. Unlike most people, they don't really take the time to do that kind of thing. In the service industry, which I'm in, when you get a lot of people up on the roof, employees, most of the time they're paid very low. That's how these guys are able to get the jobs, to be able to get it underpriced. And the trick is, I think, to get a whole bunch of them. So you get a whole bunch of these jobs and you underbid everybody, and then you're making really good money, but the quality is not there. So that's what I tell my clients, and it's not lying to them at all. Really, some areas of a roof may fail, but it may last another 5 years. So instead of doing a whole roof, we actually save them money and we do the repairs. I meet a lot of people who get a whole re-roof job, and within 5 years it's failing, and then the contractor's not coming to do it, and I come in and I show them the reasoning, as I just explained to you. Well, that's what happens when you get a large crew. I personally will come, I'm the owner, and I also am the applicator of the products and everything. So everything that comes in, it's all me. You get 100% the owner on the job, and if you're willing to pay the premium, then we'll fix all your problems. So you just basically patiently, I sit back and I wait. I laugh. These guys are out there just pumping up all these jobs and everything, and then I just come behind and I just start plugging up all the leaks and solving everybody's problems. And I think it makes everybody really happy when somebody has a problem, and it's been happening for a long time. Like a leaky roof is a bitch, and you come in and fix that thing. These people they love you. I'd like to add as well that one thing I do is I always add 10% on top of the job that I do, right? This goes into the sales techniques. And if I need the money, I'll use it. If it's something I didn't see, you know, it's like surgery. When you open up a roof for somebody, you never know what's going to happen. There could be rafter rot or, you know, all kinds of different things. So, but for the most part, what I do is I go turn around and I give that money back at the end of the job. And this just makes the people go fucking nuts, you guys. They look and they go, well, what is this for? And I says, well, it was money on there for work that needed to be done that I didn't need to do. So as an honest person, this is the refund you get. It was there because we didn't know what was going to open up, and it was hard to explain to you in the beginning. So we usually just pad this emergency money on there. But no, it's not my money. This is your money. So you're handing them money back, and it may be, you know, 10% of $1,000. You know, you give them $100, they're like, whoa. And that really boosts your name. That gets you out there. So these are the tricks. Okay, so weekends as well. I go on weekends, and this is a little bit spur off, but I try to go to the beach and shit like that, and everybody's there. Why would I go to the weekends even grocery shopping? Costco, fucking the people they're just, all the weirdos are out. So what I found was to reverse this, work on the weekends. So number one, it gives me free advertising. I'm up there on a Saturday or Sunday pounding away at a roof. The neighbors come out, hey, what are you doing? You know, would you mind taking a look at mine next? So you see how this can snowball. It's ended up where I've worked in a cul-de-sac and ended up doing like 4 or 5 houses there. 2, there's no traffic, you know, or well, less traffic here in Sunnyside, Southern California. What I get is I get the beaches all to myself. I get the parks mostly to myself. So I'll go on Monday and Tuesday and utilize Saturday and Sunday where there's no traffic and I get free advertisement. So that's how we kind of, and I didn't figure this out until a long, long time later. But this is how you kind of look at things long enough, sit back, but you have to have the time to be able to do that, to stop your head from the motor from reeling out of control, and to be able to look at it and make plans and invent. So these are some of my secrets I've got here. I'm going to give you guys another one. So what I do, as I said, with this product that I videotape, here's one of my biggest ninja swords, which I call it. I got an iPad, and I take that video, like I just told you guys, of me pounding away this roof, this drain of this material that I use, giving the client proof of concept. I also videotaped one of the owners of the establishment and asked him, I says, hey, this is a perfect opportunity. We did this roof for you guys 10 years ago. What do you think? You know, we're resurfacing it now. How did everything turn out? Are you happy? Do you have anything to say? And I took the iPad out like this. I'm standing next to him. Hey, this is the owner here. And he goes, hey, great work, you guys. Adrian, you're one of the best. I'm like, hey, thank you so much, Carl. Have a great day. We got that on there. We got proof of concept. But what we also do is I've taken thousands of pictures of where roofs fail. I've got all where the sealants would crack and these joints would open up, or new jobs that big contractors did, and the client's just not happy. I just agitate this problem, right? But meanwhile, when I do the estimate, I go up on the customer's roof and I actually take picture videos of areas that's going on in their actual roof. So I can actually hold up the iPad to them and show them, hey, look, this is your problem. This is what you got. And it happens all the time, sir or ma'am. And I flip over and I'm like, here's a couple pictures from decades of my experience, and I can see this thing happening. But then I flip over to my sealant, and I'll say, look, this is the problem that we see continuously, always happening, but here's the stuff that we use to fix it. Then I hand them a live sample of it, and I said, go run it over with your car, try to stab a screwdriver through it, beat it with a hammer, do whatever you can, try to destroy this thing. But I just want to show you that here's the problem you have, and we're going to stop this from ever happening again. We've got your problem solved. So through pictures and videos, showing all the in-depth things. Some people you can see rolling their eyes, you know, or it's too much information. But when you speak to your clients as well, it's not really that great. When you show pictures, you can see them go, oh, they get it. When you show them video, that just blows them away. I've had clients tell me, you should patent what you have here, you know, and I'm like, wow. But seriously, guys, this has been I don't know if you guys understand. I'm a single dad. I get 30 hours of work per week, all right? Per week, and I only have 9 months to come up with a quota for the rest of the year, to come up with retirement, to come up with food, electricity, everything, gas. 9 months before my oldest child, who's the only one attending public education, to make that money. So these are the tools. So let me give you guys a couple more. How I use Facebook, how I use social media, and it's mainly Facebook. So in addition to everything that I just told you guys for my clients, I videotape the problem, and this is how I tell them as well. I'm kind of jumping the gun here, but what I do is I tell them, when I fix this roof, I'm going to open it up like surgery, and I'm going to go in and show you guys where the problem is. That way you know that it was fixed, that we didn't just off my word say, yeah, it's all done, thank you, where's my paycheck? I'm actually going to show you the problem and show you the step-by-steps of how we fixed it and how we fix it to where it's never going to happen again. So for instance, maybe there's, like I said, dry rotted wood or things like that. I actually videotape us pulling the wood out, the whole section, and then I take a quick picture after of all the wood, new wood that was put down, and then the step-by-step of everything put back, and the customer gets to actually see it, and that makes them very happy. But I go a step further with Facebook, and I tell my clients, look, with your permission, I won't mention your name or your address or anything, and you can comment if you want, but I would like to post this on Facebook in front of the friends of, say, Fallbrook. There's every city where I live, I don't know if this is nationwide, but they have a Friends of Los Angeles, Friends of whatever. So this is a giant community of people on Facebook, a group that recommends things and shares stuff about the city, right? So I go in and I post this video on there, and for free, by the way. What this does is it gives me exposure to actually show the work that I do. I don't give away all my secrets about what my products are. I give them a cookie and say, if you'd like to know more, call this phone number, right? So I post the video on Facebook. It gets me exposure. I actually go to neighboring cities, and you guys, by doing this, I get sometimes, I think the biggest I had was 80,000 views, or I was in front of 80,000 people, the exposure, and I've got maybe about 7,000 views on particular videos that I've done, all for free. So this gives me free advertisement, but it also gives the client, now I tell them, fuck Better Business Bureau, fuck Yelp, fuck everybody else. This is the real deal. There's no tainting of it here. You can ruin my business by going on to this Facebook group and telling everybody what a piece of shit I am, that I showed up late, I'm a drunk, that the roof's still leaking and everything. So you have the complete power over me, and I have nowhere to hide. There's complete transparency to know that, to give you the comfort that you know I'm going to do a good job, because you can easily just come out and destroy my business. I mean, I'd have to move out of the county and start fresh somewhere new. So you see how all that works? This is gaining trust, proof of concept, and yeah, and I charge a large premium to do all this type of work. And I get it. Do I win every single job? I'd say no. It fluctuates. It's sales. Sometimes I may, out of 10 jobs, I may sell 2. Sometimes I may sell like 8. Sometimes I've sold 10 out of 10 jobs. It just depends on the client, and you've got it. And I have other tactics, but I don't want to bore you guys with all my business stuff, but I've got more if you guys ever wanted to hear. Okay, so guys, so that's how I actually do my shit. That's how I live right now. That's how I make my money, and I make it in a very short amount of time. And my daughter's up, and I got to go change a diaper. But I want to be back with you guys, and I want to show you now, how would I take a tactic and postpone retirement? What would be the actual plan? I'm fucking jazzed about this one, and I want to share it with you guys, but I got to go take care of my daughter, and I'll be back. All right, and we're back. So how postponing retirement, well, I'm so excited about it. How, Adrian, what the fuck would you do? What is the fucking plan? Okay, so I don't know, again, about your industry. All I do know is about mine. And I've actually already offered this up to a kid, and here's how it goes. So first of all, you'd have to go hunting, right? You need to go find yourself, recruit these guys that are, or gals that are actually going to do what they say. So I went over to a place, a material house, where I found this kid he's just a forklift driver. You know, he's like the lowest of the skill level that's there, supposedly. But what I see in him is a fucking prince. This kid, when I'd go inside the office to make my order to the guys who were supposed to be running the place, these guys couldn't pick their fucking eyeball without poking their nose out of their face. I think I got that backwards, but who cares? So I go outside and I ask this kid, hey, this is what I need, whatever. He's like, sure, and he just speeds off and gets it. He knows where everything's at. And so it happened before I would even get into the office. This kid would come up to me and say, hey, what is it you need? I'll just go get everything ready for you. And obviously I made kind of friends with him. Hey, what's up, man? And, and not bullshitting, just treating him like a human being. As I say on my show, human the fuck up. I humaned up with him and talked to him like he's a human being. And this kid he'd run out and I'd tell him, do you need a list? He goes, nope, I got it all in my head right here. And I know, he goes, you ask me if you need a certain product or this or that, I'll find the shit for you. He goes, I run this place. So I was like, this is impressive. So finding this kid, someone the same, here's how it would go with delaying retirement and how to kill it in the next 10 years. So you heard all about partially of how my sales techniques and everything goes. Well, in addition, being 50 years old, I would not like to get up on roofs anymore. Although I think I'd preserve my health. I'm 43 years old and I'm still rocking it. But so here's how it would go. I would hire a younger person and fully explain the details to them like this. You are going to work for me for 4 years starting out. And then this 4 years, the law of California is you got to have 40 hours a week. What is it, 53, I think, 52 point something weeks per year there is. They got to have 40 hours per week and prove their time, basically, okay? For 4 years straight. No hours missed. After it's in agreement with these young people is after the 4 years is up and you can prove your time, I'm going to pay for you to get your own contractor's license if you so choose to, okay? I'm going to help you to get the study, give you any tips that I can, and we're going to get you off on your own. We're basically going to prepare you like these people are my children. I'm going to stop right here and spur off. I think that this is doing many things. Old people in this day and age are cast aside as they're old, you bag of bones, you've got no uses, and they're actually treated like shit. Not all of them, but for the most part, they look down on even by their own children. How do I know this? Is I meet a lot of older people and I hear a lot of the same shit. But in our society, I think that these older people, their kids moved out, they feel like they really don't have a purpose. I think that might be why, if you heard my podcast about postponing retirement, the whole concept of Kiyosaki and everything, that's what happens. I think children are needed, like old people need a job to do, young people need someone to look up to. So I see this as almost being a father to these younger people in my older age. So it gives me something to do. It gives these kids a mentor, someone to teach them, to take them under the wing and show them how fucking money is actually fucking made. Not the way public education the system has and the way most business follow suit. Everybody do the same fucking shit. No, I would like to take these kids and mold them into a way and show them how to really how it really works, basically. I don't want to go on a rant too much on that, but so yeah. So it'd be serving me a purpose, I think. It would make me feel good, again, to human up, to treat these girls and boys like my own children and get them prepared to run off to be entrepreneurs or to run their own business or to go work for somebody. So the deal is I'm 50 years old. I think I forgot to add that detail. 4 years into this, I've got maybe 1 or 2 or 3 people that are interested in getting their own company started. So this gives them an incentive to stay, to actually do what is expected of them, to go above and beyond and to actually learn and to care. You can teach someone how to do something, but you can't teach them how to care, right? So I think that this evens that all out. Because I don't know if a lot of you guys, 9-to-5ers, don't understand. If you look at your boss and you think, what a fucking asshole. This guy gets to just this, that. No, it's hell. It's fucking hell. And you guys all know that it doesn't matter how much you get paid. You're still going to fuck off. You just don't care about your job. Every single employee I've had has been pretty much that. They just don't. I've paid guys $20 an hour. Didn't even bring a hammer to the job. I paid good money in hopes that these people would take care of me, and it never happened. Having employees is one of the worst things ever to manage adults. Oh, I'm so glad to do things myself right now. But to eliminate that problem, to get people inspired, I think, and turn your business more into a family, Large scale, I don't know how this would work, but so after 4 years is up, these kids, they have their license, but they don't have the working capital. They don't really have the experience too much of the sales. So that's when I would say, look, I want you to work for me for another 4 to 6 years. You're going to save up capital, and we're going to go sit down, and I'm going to teach you how to save money, how to come up with a business plan, how to get all your shit together, and sales techniques and things to do to survive economic collapses, and how to stay innovative. And there's a lot to it besides just getting your license. I can see that it would take most likely about 10 years or so per person. And in that 10 years, that's when I would come in and I'd fucking kill it. Using these kids, for lack of better words, not using them, but how is this a value for value exchange so that they're actually excited? I think one of the things would be, the question from you guys is actually, how much money could you make? Let's take a look at how much money I'm actually making by myself, okay, guys? I think it's easily that per person, they can actually make $100,000, a six-figure income per year. And I'm probably I know that I can make something like that if I so chose to in a year, no fucking problem. You add up how many employees and everything you got, that's a whole business plan. I think that would be virtually impossible. But I think within that 10 years, you should be able to make a ton of money. The whole time when you're younger, I guess what I mean to, like in my position, which I'm actually thinking of doing this, is that I'm just gathering information every year. Every year I'm learning new things, new techniques, honing my skills to where it comes to that point where it would be 10, 15 years or so. I mean, look at that. If I'm 50 years old and 7 years from now, my daughter's 13. She's probably going to move out for sure. She'll be 21 years old. I have my special needs. So I don't, like I said earlier in the podcast, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to retire, but I'm coming up with other business concepts. You see, when you get backed into a corner, you start to think differently. Yeah, that's my area. I think with this Gary Vaynerchuk and this Robert Kiyosaki, being as old as they are, treating this shit like it's a fucking game, I think that this is totally possible. Why, in some, are we wasting our youthful bodies and our minds, which aren't that really well developed yet, they're not too business savvy. Why would we waste that time and stress? I see a lot of people stressing. Why don't we turn this around and start fucking enjoying life? Start doing the things, hiking the fucking mountains, as I said, doing whatever your heart fucking wants. And then start to slowly phase into more of the cerebral work of making thousands of fucking dollars, when your body starts to break. I mean, even if you took care of yourself, ate all the vitamins and exercise you want, you're still going to get fucking old, man. You're not going to want to do certain things, okay? So get that all out of your system. And again, don't be lazy. I'd like to add that you would need some working capital, and that's what I do. I take like about 10 grand every year, and I just keep stuffing it into a bank account. Save as much money on top of everything that I have. You can only know whatever plan it is that you have, and work from there. You've got to know the numbers. You need to watch, if I've published it already, you've got to learn how to budget. You've got to come up with a life plan, a business plan, and you need to learn how to differentiate the two and where they both meet. So I don't know what more to say, you guys. I think that's the purpose of the show, is everything could be done fucking different. If we just sit there and look at it long enough, just because a lot of this unwritten law says this is the way we're supposed to do shit, we don't have to follow suit. We are not lemmings, and I think there's a whole new world out there. There's a whole new way of doing things, and that's how new shit happens. That's how we get Mozarts and Beethovens and Jimi Hendrixes and Vincent Van Goghs. We get all this Elon Musk. We get this stuff from people thinking fucking different, man. We don't have to follow the system. And this is what I mean when I talk about the system. And we have our own systems as well, but it's the system in general. If it's not working, we don't need statistics to tell you whether you're happy or not happy. And you don't need statistics to show you, to look around you and see people to tell that they're not fucking happy either. They're doing shit that they fucking hate. It's fucking mind and it's soul fucking crushing bullshit. So unless you love what you're doing and everything's going great, fuck off. We hate you. No, we don't. It's a joke. But find the fire. Don't lose. You guys, do not lose your fucking muchness. Carry the fire on. Human up. Live it, love it, own it, and bone it.